If you want to unlock the hottest, highest, and happiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. I am so happy to be back for you guys, and I'm so sorry that I was gone. You can kind of hear it in my voice, but I've been pretty sick for a minute now, so it was kind of difficult to film. I had so much going on with Coachella events, other brand stuff, things like that, but I'm really working on trying to get back to consistent uploads for you guys, so please bear with me as I'm healing, and please try not to mind my voice during this. Is it just me though, or are there certain times when you have your sick voice that you kind of like it? It kind of sounds cute and raspy. Not right now though. I don't know. Right now I feel gross, but sometimes I'll say something and I'll be like, was that 2012 Justin Bieber? I don't know, or maybe you guys don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just insane. Anyway, for today's episode, first of all, how have you guys been? How have you guys been? My last episode I did for you guys was how to exit your lazy girl era, and I wanted to challenge you guys to try new habits, things like that, just incorporate certain changes into your life little by little. So let me know how that's been going for you if you've been practicing it. If you haven't, feel free to go back to that episode, reiterate some things for yourself, pick a habit or two that you want to implement into your week and give it a go. Whether it's drinking more water, getting to sleep earlier, staying off your phone an hour before bed, give it a try. I find it really hard to follow certain healthy habits when I'm sick. So I'll be the first to admit the past week, I have not been treating my body with a lot of love because I've been so down bad, even though that's when I need the love the most. So I've just been trying to get back into the swing of things, trying to get back on my feet, feeling better, back into routine, back into my uploads. So that's why I am so happy to be here uploading for you guys and recording this episode. Before we hop into today's episode, you guys know I love to share a podcast review. Today we have Tammy. She said, I loved this episode, probably because I really needed it. I'm always so excited when you post because the things you talk about are so important and you are so relatable. Please never stop posting. I will not, girl. I will not stop posting just for you, Tammy. Make sure you guys leave a podcast review on this episode for the chance to be featured in the next one. I'm also thinking of doing a little giveaway soon, maybe for people who respond. So make sure you do a reply or a review or rating. Now, for today's episode, I was feeling a little bit torn about what I wanted to really crack down on for the topic because what I've been feeling called to talk to you guys about today is pretty broad, a pretty general topic. I was torn between doing just an episode on change in general, but then also one about like stepping out of your comfort zone or what to do when you feel stuck. So I'm kind of going to touch on all of those little things today, but I do plan on doing more in-depth episodes about, change itself and stepping out of your comfort zone, things like that. But to get our foot just in the door with this, I feel like an issue that humans experience on a day-to-day basis is they feel stuck. They feel like they have to do things a certain way because that's just how they've been doing it. Or as humans, we become so comfortable with pattern and repetition. So that kind of contradicts what I talked about in my last episode, which is building habits. Do not get me wrong, building healthy habits is so important and so extremely crucial for growth and development and to implement a healthy lifestyle. However, there's other habits, other routines and repetition that is not going to be as good for you after a certain amount of time. Say you're training for a marathon, and I don't know a lot about running terminology, so I'm going to use a mile as my example. You're practicing running a mile, and you want your time to be 7 minutes. Pretty realistic. I don't know. I haven't ran since I was in like 8th grade, but say you want to hit a 7-minute mile. That's your goal. You don't want to go any higher than 7 minutes. You're running an 8-minute mile right now. You want to get it down to 7. So you try really hard and you get your mile time down to 7 minutes. For the rest of the year, is 7 minutes still going to be your goal? Because maybe it was hard to get 7 minutes the first time, but if you keep doing 7 minutes over and over and over again, that's going to become so easy that you're bored with it, that you don't even want to do it anymore because it's just that easy for you. As humans, once we master a job or a task or a challenge, we become so comfortable with it that we're almost cocky about it, but we just get too comfortable that we remain stagnant. And that's not necessarily a good thing because you should always be pushing yourself for more. If you perfect one thing, move on to the next. You don't stay in one spot. Think of life as a board game. I know that's such a cheesy analogy. I'm sorry. Think of life as a board game though. If you get a really good roll, you roll a 6, the highest number on the dice, that's the highest one, right? Can you get an 8? No, just 6. Say you roll a 6, you will move up 6 spaces on the game board, but you're not going to want to stay there. You're going to be like, sweet, rolled a 6, but how weird would it be if you just didn't roll again? Whoa, wait, that was bars. That was bars, guys. That was a really good analogy. Okay, picture that visual in your head. You're playing a board game. You roll a 6. That's the best number you could get. You're like, sweet, moving up. What now? You don't stay there. You roll again, and you keep moving forward until you get to the finish line. Not every single dice you roll is going to be the best number. You're going to get 1s, you're going to get 2s, you might get sent back to jail if you're playing Monopoly. It doesn't matter. You're going to keep rolling. You have to keep trying because eventually you have to reach the end. And the only way to reach the end of the board game is to keep rolling the dice. What the fuck? I just made that up, guys. I literally just made it up, and that really clicked with my brain. Let me know if that clicked with your brain because I just changed my entire perspective in life, and we're only 5 minutes into the episode. Got kind of sidetracked there, but back to our mile. If you reach your 7-minute mile, that was your goal. For the next year, you're not going to keep running a 7-minute mile. You're going to want to get it down to 6 minutes and 50 seconds, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, lower and lower until you are the fastest bitch in all the land and you are winning all the marathons. Because if you reach a goal that you set for yourself, of course that's great. But if you just keep reaching that milestone over and over again, you're not accomplishing it. You could only reach a goal once. You have to set new goals for yourself, set new expectations for yourself because you're cheating yourself. If you keep trying to do the easy way out, if you keep trying to stay comfortable with your 7-minute mile, if you just want to roll the dice once, you're cheating yourself out on growth, on development, on becoming a better person. You're missing out on that because you're not pushing yourself to try new things and to strive for something better that deep down you know you can accomplish, but you're just scared to push yourself to do it. Guys, I have not sat down and done a podcast in like 2 weeks, and I think all of my creative, insightful juices are just flowing out of me, and it's making me sick. But as humans, that is our biggest obstacle that we face. It's our own mind. It's our own goals and expectations that we set for ourselves that we keep so low. And if you set these huge outlandish expectations for yourself, like say I'm like, I want to hit 1 million followers tomorrow. Obviously, that's not realistic, and since my subconscious knows that's not realistic, I'm going to keep pushing it back. But if I have 0 goals for myself, I'm not going to push myself to accomplish anything. So a couple years ago, my goal was to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok. I hit that. If my goal was still to reach 100,000 followers on TikTok, now that's cheating. When we reach a certain point where we feel like we are somewhat accomplished and established, we get comfortable, so we stand still. When we find ourselves in a decent position, maybe better than the one we were in before, you want to stay there. It's like, oh, like, cool, I made it, I'm safe, I'm on higher ground, like, let me chill here. You don't want to test your limits, you don't want to push your luck, and you just stay there. And I think that's why people get stuck in jobs they hate, in relationships that they are unhappy in. They get stuck in such a mediocre life because they were too scared to challenge themselves to get more. And if what you want is a mediocre 9-to-5 miserable day job or a one-sided, unrequited love, half-love type relationship, stay there. Stay there. But I'm telling you, you deserve way more than what you're reaching. And I'm not saying none of that matters. Maybe that day job or that relationship, those were necessary stepping stones in your board game of life to get to your end goal of where you need to be. But that's not it for you. Look at the situation you are in right now. I want you to assess your inner circle. Assess your friends around you, assess your relationships, romantic and friendships, assess your job, assess your aspirations and your hobbies. Do you think that's it for you? Because if you can truly tell me that right now, in this moment, you have reached your fullest potential, then by all means, stay still, be stagnant, stay where you're at. But you'd be lying to yourself if you said that right now, in this moment, you have reached your fullest potential. And you'd be lying to yourself if you were telling yourself that you don't want more than what you have right now. And I'm not saying this is about money. I'm not saying this is about materialistic things. I'm saying this is for your aspirations. This is for your goals and your dreams for yourself. Because if you are listening to this podcast right now, you are meant for more. There's a reason why you clicked on this podcast, because you know that you need to make a change. You know you need to step out of your comfort zone, but you don't quite know how. Lucky for you, I'm going to tell you how. And I'm going to tell you an example of when I first started social media. I started TikTok seriously in 2020, so not a ton of people were doing it. No one from my high school was doing it, and I was embarrassed. I wanted to start it even sooner, but I was too nervous to post my own videos online and for people to see it. But something inside me, literally my entire life, was calling me to put myself out there. When I would watch like these girls on my screen, like Bethany Moda and those influencers of like the 2012s, I would feel so called to be them. Like when I would watch these people on my screen, or like even when I would watch concerts, like I could not focus on the concert or focus on the video or the movie or whatever was playing in front of me, because I was envisioning myself in their position. And I just think that's really crazy now, because I didn't understand it at the time, but it was like my future self calling to me. And one thing I do want to say is, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You can hold it in your reality. Anything you want in life or desire in life, any ideas or dreams or aspirations that you have, the reason you have those is because your future self already has it. And it's calling to you. It is calling your name. Like, come fucking get me. Bottom line, obviously, I started social media. And at first, it was very scary and intimidating, obviously. It's difficult to put yourself out there. Not everyone's gonna like you. And it was so scary to think of what people would think of me, at school, family, friends. I was kind of embarrassed all the time when people would say, like, oh, I saw your video on my For You page. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. What's embarrassing about that? Literally, what is embarrassing about that? Because I put myself out there and I did something that everyone else wishes that they could have. Fast forward almost 4 years, look at me now. Everyone else took their path, they went to college, did their thing, which good for them. But I did something completely different, and I have accomplished things that a lot of them cannot say they have experienced. I worked with brands. I'm designing a clothing line. I have a podcast. And I'm not saying this in a flexing way. I'm saying it in a way as, if I did not go against the grain and go against the norm of what everyone else at my high school was doing, I wouldn't be in this position that I'm in today and have experienced all the amazing things that I have. And I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys, who I absolutely love and adore with my whole heart. Was I supposed to go to college? Absolutely. Absolutely, I was. Did it probably crush my parents' soul finding out that I didn't go to college? Absolutely. But can I fucking go to college whenever I want? Yes. But right now in this moment, I am called to be here with you guys. Everyone else was doing the traditional college experience, moving away, getting a dorm, whatever, and I was here. I never once questioned if I made the wrong choice, because I knew that the path that I am on is the one that was meant for me. And also, if I ever wanted to go back and go to college, I could always do that. But the opportunity to do social media was right in front of my face, and I am so glad that I took it. And when an opportunity presents itself, if you feel called to take it, you better go do it. You would be doing yourself the biggest injustice if you did not go chase your dreams. Go do what your gut is telling you to do. That would be so unfair to your future self. Like, I don't get why as humans we wait for things to happen. Even for me, for social media, I could have started way sooner than I did. I could have been way more successful way sooner. I could have capitalized off of a lot of things, because there weren't a lot of people on the app at the time, but I was scared. I was afraid to make the change. I was afraid to step out of my comfort zone. I needed everything to be perfect before I started, when in reality, I should have just pulled the trigger and gone for it. The path I ended up taking was so different from my everyday life. When I think of myself in high school, I was a totally different person. I was working at Brandy Melville for one. I was on the cheer team for 4 years. I was in AP classes, very homecoming queen-esque, very social. I thought I was going to go to a 4-year college and join a sorority, do all these things. And I did none of that. But in reality, I did something way cooler. I did something that no one else has done because I trusted my gut and followed my dreams and did what I felt called to do. Because everyone around me was doing one thing. In our society, we are so afraid of going against the grain, of going against what our parents want or what our friends want, what everyone else is doing. But it was the best decision I could have made for myself. And I totally get it. Change is terrifying. But if the people in your life cannot support you and see your vision and trust your guts and your vision to follow your dreams, maybe they don't belong in your life, because the right people will always support you. Even if they can't see your vision, they'll be like, hey, like, I trust you. They'll give you their best advice, but they will let you do you and be there to support you the entire time along the way. Whether or not you fail or succeed, they will be there, because change is something that is so inevitable. And we act like it's this big, scary thing and we want everything to remain the same forever. That's why some people, they don't leave their toxic relationships. They don't dump their lame, mean, rude friends. They just stay there because they're comfortable, but that will make you miserable. I promise, change is so necessary. So sometimes if you are clinging on so tightly to something, whether it's a relationship, a job, because when you are clinging on to something that is no longer meant for you, that is no longer serving you, God and the universe will use all of the forces to get it away from you, to pull it away from you. Because if you are so hyper fixated on an outcome, like if I'm so hyper fixated, like I need to go to college, which that's a great motivational path. Like, don't get me wrong. But for me, that wasn't my path. If I was so hyper fixated on it, I would be missing all the opportunities that were flying right past me because I'd be so tunnel vision for this one outcome. So I feel like sometimes God and the universe will make us open our eyes to see the bigger picture. Like, they might need to yank you away. Like, think of yourself as like a little kid staring at the TV screen. Like, you just can't get away. They will be maybe throwing obstacles at you. And it might feel really hard at the time, really shitty at the time, but it's because something better is coming. And so maybe you reaching your last straw at this horrible job or with this horrible relationship, maybe that's what needed to happen for you to be able to take a step back from it, open your eyes, and be open to receiving all the amazing blessings that are about to come your way tenfold. So assess your life. Think of if you are truly happy in your situation. And I know there's probably at least one thing that you are not happy with. Maybe it's a person. Maybe it's your living situation. Do something about it. And I know we can't snap our fingers and have a pumpkin turn into a carriage right before our eyes and all of our issues be solved immediately. But do little things day by day that will get you to where you need to be. If you are so unhappy with your living situation, save an extra $100 every month to save up for a new place. Or if you're unhappy with the person in your life, journal about it, sit with it, pray for help, think of how you are feeling, identify those feelings, why you're feeling this way, and get to the root of it. Go to the source. If this is a person who's bothering you, like, confront them. Or if it's a job, start applying for other ones. I know it's easier said than done, and I'm not saying everyone is in the easiest, most convenient position to just change everything about their life, but do something. When we feel stuck in life, it's often because we feel like we lack control of everything around us. You have to make at least one power move and everything else will fall into place. For example, when I was doing social media full time around this time a year and a half ago, I got stuck in a really bad depressive rut. I did not love myself. I didn't love who I was becoming. I had just started doing social media full time, so I lacked any structure or routine in my life. I was going out a lot. I was unhappy with myself and the way I looked and felt on the inside. I did not feel good. So what I did is I decided to get a little part-time job. I was just applying to places online, and I didn't think that it would make such a difference in the trajectory of my life, whether or not I got a certain job, because I applied to multiple places. The very first place to respond to me is the job I am still at now, a year and a half later, and it has brought me my best friends ever. I love that place. I love the environment. I love the vibes. It has brought me a whole new social life. On top of that, a new healthy, active lifestyle. I got to work my way up a couple levels in the company, and it made me so happy. I didn't even realize how badly I wanted that job until I actually got it. And being there, it was like I was reborn again. And after I got that job, it opened so many other doors for me. Networking opportunities, new best friends. My boyfriend started working there with me. It was such a fun time. And I didn't even know that me getting one little job was going to unfold into this big new aspect of my life. And now I cannot imagine my life without that. But it was just one little change I had to make by just applying for a job on the computer. And it made my life so much better. Because after that, I ended up dyeing my hair from red to black. So I fixed my issues with my appearance. I gave myself a fresh start, which sounds so silly, but sometimes you need like a big hair change. Maybe that's the power move you need to make. Do something a little bit more on the drastic end or on the mild end that will make you feel like you are making a choice for yourself and you are in control. You hold the reins. After I got a job, I developed a little more of a routine. I changed my lifestyle and my unhealthy habits. I got new hair. I updated my style. And then all of a sudden, I was motivated again to make new videos because I now had a part-time job. I didn't need to do social media for money. Therefore, it became more enjoyable. I was able to take breaks. I was able to re-inspire myself. It really is like this domino effect. Once you do one good thing, you pull the trigger, you make that change you've been waiting to make, the rest of it completely unfolds and you might not even know what's in store for you. Think of it like a box. I want you to think of a present, right? A wrapped present, but instead of just having one layer of wrapping paper, there are hundreds of layers of wrapping paper. So each time you pull back a layer, there's another layer of wrapping paper. And you keep having to, go through these layers. You have to peel back each layer to get to the gift that's inside. And it's not always going to be super exciting. Maybe you'll get some really cute wrapping paper, maybe you'll get some shitty wrapping paper, but at the end of the day, you have one end goal that's on the inside of that box and you don't even know what it is yet. You just have to be patient with yourself, keep moving forward, keep pulling back those layers because there's something so special that is meant for you waiting on the inside of that box. Change has this connotation around it that for so many people, it means it's a scary thing. It means it's a bad thing. Like when you think of a breakup or a friend breakup, it's like, oh, I don't want to lose you. Like, I don't want this to change. I don't want things to change when you move away, whatever. Change is so necessary. So cheesy again, but think about a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. A caterpillar cannot stay a caterpillar forever. That's not what it's meant to do. It's meant to blossom and grow and evolve into this beautiful butterfly because that's just how life works. We fear the uncertain because we feel that it's out of our control. But the decisions you make on a day-to-day life, you are in control of those. So you get to decide if you want to wake up today and be the same person you were yesterday or if you want to become better. You don't want it to be a year from now and you look back and you say like, oh, like I'm in the exact same position I was last year. You don't want that. And in order to be in a different place next year, you have to make changes by the day. But it's baby steps. I'm not saying you have to move to a different country and ditch your friends and ditch your family and your relationships. Like, no. It's baby steps in making changes that make you step outside your comfort zone a little and make steps towards the things that you are feeling called to do for yourself. I get it's scary that we don't know what's ahead of us, but that's the beauty of it, is you are taking these steps blindly, trusting that God and the universe has a plan for you, but more importantly, trusting yourself. If you truly trust yourself, you'll know that no matter what obstacles you come across on a daily basis, it's nothing compared to what the end result will be for you. Any obstacle you come across is worth it in the grand scheme of things, because that's just another stepping stone to get to the finish line. Every hard thing that we experience on a day-to-day basis, every time you get knocked down, it's because you're getting built up for better. It's like the saying, one door closes, another one opens. Like, rejection is truly redirection. So if one thing you're doing in life, you thought it was going to be your dream job, if that's not working out for you, leave it. leave it. You tried it. But don't stay in situations just because you're comfortable. That's how people get stuck and stay unhappy for years. You have to keep moving forward because I guarantee you, at the point you're at in your life right now, you're not meant to stay there forever. Keep it moving, girlfriend. There's a quote by Tony Robbins, and it is a quote that I think about all the time. And he said, the biggest conflicts that humans experience on a daily basis is the need to remain consistent with how they identify themselves. Let me say that again for you. Let me say it again. The biggest conflicts that humans experience on a daily basis is the need to remain consistent with how they identify themselves. We feel like we are stuck in this shell, in this mold, and that's our path for life. We think that if others have this perception of ourselves, we have to fit that perception for them. If someone thinks like, oh, like Bri's a shy girl, she is always so quiet, like I'm gonna feel like, oh, like I need to be quiet. Like, no. If anything, I'm gonna be loud and I'm gonna prove them wrong. But I feel like a lot of people, if they create a reputation for themselves, like for example, my whole life growing up, I was actually super shy. Super shy. My twin sister was the loud, outgoing one. I was the shy one, the quiet one, a little awkward. Imagine if I made that true for my entire life, just because it was true in like elementary and middle school. If I felt the need to keep following that storyline for myself for my entire life, I would not be here sitting before you recording a podcast. Every single day, you have the choice to rewrite your own story. And every single day, you are actively making the decision to not rewrite your story, to not do something that your future self will thank you for, to not take steps to become the highest version of yourself, to achieve your dream life. Like, what are you doing? Every single day, you can make at least one choice that will help benefit your future. But instead, the need that we feel to remain consistent in how we identify ourselves and present ourselves to other people, that keeps us so stuck. And it's so sad because we're scared to move away from the norm. We're scared to reshape out of our mold, out of the shell. Remember that your body is only a physical shell, and even that's always changing. But your soul, it is free form. It is fluid, and you could do whatever you want with it. So there is no mold, there is no shape. If you wanted to wake up tomorrow and be a completely different person, you could. So if you are feeling stuck, just remember that you wake up with a choice every single day to decide what the story is that you are going to write for yourself, and you decide whether or not it's true. So my challenge for you this week is I want you guys to do a little journal time, because you know I love to journal, and I want you to write down your current life. It could be as short or as long as you want it to be, but write it down almost in a narrative perspective. So for me, I'd write, Brianna is 21 years old and she lives at home with her parents and she just started her podcast. It's going okay. She's not that consistent, whatever. And then either next to it or on a different page, I want you to write what you want the narrative to be for yourself. I know I keep using the metaphoric term of, writing a story for yourself, but truly write a story for yourself. Again, it doesn't have to be long like a novel. It could be just a few sentences. And you can write this in the form of an affirmation. So I would write, I am a successful entrepreneur / content creator. I have my own clothing line. My podcast is booming and I am consistent and I make time for my loved ones. I wake up early. I go to sleep early. I take care of myself. Write the story that you want to write for yourself and that you want to be true. And then follow that story. You writing it out is literally writing a game plan. It's writing an end goal. And if you really break it down to, your day-to-day of your dream self, like the things you eat and the time you wake up and what you wear, I guarantee you that you can implement some of those things right now. So think of your highest self, what they would do. Toss your old story, shred it to bits, because that's not true. That is your old truth. That is the truth that you were keeping yourself stuck on. Your new and improved version is the second paper, your dream life, and I guarantee you there are things on those lists that you can implement right now. And even if you can't implement them, it gives you something to work towards, and now you have a more visual physical idea of what you want your life to look like. With all that being said, I believe that wraps up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. It felt so amazing to be back here with you guys. I have my summer clothing line launch coming up soon, so follow my socials to stay tuned for that. I'm making a super cute like pink lace halter and mini skirt set, and it's going to be all sustainably made. That's super exciting. I just wanted to announce on here real quick. Follow us on our socials at Hot Unbothered and my personal Brianna Gomez with 2 B's. I will be uploading more on Snapchat, lots of behind the scenes fun stuff, so make sure to add me on there, and I will see you guys next Bri-day. I love you so much. Mwah.